man, then what are we doing?
Being software professionals.
True, could be.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming to tonight's meeting. Who all did we have set to teach?
Tyler
Was it
was
just Patty?
Well, Tyler was supposed to teach last week, but we only met with Andrew, so nobody taught. But then I haven't heard from Tyler, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you say you had something ready to teach tonight, Patty?
Yes, it's
Okay.
short and quick.
Okay, that's
Cool.
fine by me. We'll go ahead and turn the time over to you then.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me get it ready if you guys want to talk about something else just really quick.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Dead silence.
I'm working on Ajax. I should have a pretty cool demo done next couple days that I'll share at that point.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Hoping it will tie in the rest of my small misses as well with some of the I'm at 10s in most of those categories. So I'm hoping it'll also give me a little extra.
I thought about cheating and just importing my PHP project for my Ajax thing.
There you go. But PHP won't work because it has to be Java.
Yeah, well, because I've got a PHP project that I did for web engineering, and it's kind of like what I've got right now for my Ajax section, but it's this big text-based RPG.
Okay.
And all the different quests and stuff are loaded via Ajax.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that way I don't have to keep switching screens every time the text changes. I just load up documents via Ajax into a div.
Cool. I did find a fantastic resource. I'm not sure if I shared it or not, but whole tutorial on game, like building a game in Java, and it's got everything and level ups and all kinds of cool stuff. I haven't got there yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'm just kind of taking it from the beginning, and it imports Canvas, and so I think I'll gain some insights on Canvas as well, which I was pretty excited for.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see if you did post that, because I'd be interested in it.
Yeah, if I don't, I will.
Okay.
I think you did post it because I saw it. I didn't go really into it, but I thought it was really neat. I kind of went through it briefly.
I have my 13-year-old. He got grounded, and so instead of normal grounding stuff, he's building his first Java game. So.
Oh, that's awesome! I should do that with my kids.
I don't see how that's punishment.
Well, it is for him for whatever reason. I'm trying to understand.
Oh, okay.
And so
that's cool, I guess.
If you're doing it from the beginning, it's probably punishment. Once he knows how to do it, probably it won't be punishment. But
yeah, he was pretty upset about it, but now he's like, "This is pretty cool," which is kind of the whole idea. Like, yeah, it kind of is.
Okay.
Okay.
So, ready for us, Patty?
I am ready. I am starting from like the beginning because I got 0 when I turned in my JSON topic. So
okay.
Hopefully it will work. Okay. So I had to research again what was JSON, which is the syntax for storing and exchanging data. It's easier to use an XML. Some of the JSON values, which I'm pretty sure everybody knows, are the number, the string, the boolean, the array, and an object. This is a very simple example of how to use JSON in JavaScript. And we have the name here. I won't be able to highlight it. But where it says var text, you have the name, the web and the win, and then you have the JSON.parse or parse. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah, parse.
So it is just very simple JSON code, and then I got another sandbox code. I took kind of the basics from W3 School, and it's how to do a JSON HTTP request, and it's just requesting the sites from my personal CIT 261 topics. So if you click in the links, it will take you to my pages. Something else that I found out is that for AJAX applications, JSON is faster. And for the last page, I had some references, and the last reference, the David Walsh webpage, is actually pretty cool because in it, it tells you how to use JSON when you're building a video game. So you don't have to deal with a layer of complication. And there's code and stuff like that in there that he gives as an example. So I thought it might be useful to kind of see it for our game. So again, this is my very basic presentation of JSON because I hadn't grasped the concept when I submitted my topic.
Cool. I'm checking out that. I love tutorials and just websites that like give you all kinds of information. Pulling that up right now.
Yeah, the last one is actually pretty good because he actually gives you an example. And I like it when they actually give you the code, the parts of the code to be able to kind of figure out
Agreed.
What they're using. So
that's what I like most about this class is go out, find code, steal shamelessly with it, and then make it your own, right? Like break it up, make it, break it, till it falls apart, and then rebuild it so that you understand it and make it do something cool and different. I think that's awesome.
Scrape off the VIN number and then.
Yeah, no, seriously, right? No, but it's like, in real world application, right? It's all about, a term you'll hear often is steal shamelessly, like meaning there's no need to reinvent the wheel if the wheel is already invented. Find a way to make it spin faster, right?
Yeah.
Give credit where credit's due, but I mean, just don't rethink a process just because, hey, someone's been super successful. Let me find a more challenging way to be successful. Find what they've done and then make it your own and see how you take it to the next level. So I love that. That's one aspect I really do like about this class.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Chuck.
Okay. Well, thank you, Patty. Was that everything you had to present?
Yes, sorry, it was short.
Oh, no.
And then, Patty, real quick, so you said there was a game example on the David Walsh. I'm looking at it right now.
Yes.
Is it the Noodle RPG?
It's the code. Yes, if you keep going down, you'll see how he has the code. And then it kind of gives you a configuration example.
I mean, was there I was trying to see if there was a link that actually showed you the actual game, like what it does. Was there?
I don't think so, because I don't remember seeing... Okay. What I do when I find code like this is I put it on a blank Google page, and I inspect it to see what it does.
Yeah.
So I don't think it actually has the game.
Okay, cool. I thought that's what you'd said, but no big deal. I was just curious.
Sorry. No, I was referring to, like, I don't know. I guess when I look at code, like, for example, when I wrote the basic thing of the character, I go to see, like, how people actually write their code, and I look for examples like this, and I think, okay, well, that's how they do it. How can I do it? Will it work for me? So I don't necessarily see it, like, running. I like seeing just kind of the example.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, I like to see. I learn best when I can see it running, because then my brain's starting to process. Well, how do they do that? And then I get into the code and start to go, oh, this does this does that. That's why I was curious.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I am the opposite. I like to see the example, and then I take it from there and see what I can do with it.
It's awesome, right?
I feel like when I look at what somebody else is doing, then I get very confused because it's very complex, at least for me. When a game is running completely, then I'm trying to figure, like, when I'm inspecting the code, I don't understand it completely.
Right.
And maybe once I get more advanced, then I can do that, but...
Yeah, Ben and I were talking earlier about how we all have different learning styles, right? And so...
Yeah, it's true.
It's so important to realize and understand that, especially in the real world. We were talking about, I had 3 centers that I visited today, all had the same problem, but I had to address it differently with each of my managers, because they learn differently, they see it differently. Same expectation, but just conveyed in a different way.
Yes. So I see it different, and that's why I explain it that way.
Cool.
So.
Thank you. That was really good.
Okay. Thank you, Patty, for that presentation. It was good.
Hey, James.
Oh, hey, Brother James. How's it going?
I'm good. Sounds like an interesting discussion.
Always.
Good deal.
Every time.
Getting your money's worth.
Yep. So the only really big agenda items that we have for tonight was to kind of get everything figured out, because I feel like we're all on a couple of different pages in terms of what's going on, how the project's going to run, what needs to be done, and all that. So I know, Andrew, you weren't here for the meeting last Saturday, and that's totally fine. We knew you weren't going to be there. But we discussed a few things with how we can simplify Holy Burger while keeping kind of the essential parts of it, like without chopping it up too much and getting rid of most of the content. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to look at the that drawn prototype that I had set up once upon a time, one more time, and I'm going to kind of explain what all we're changing to begin with, and kind of get you up to speed on what we, as a group, for the rest of us, decided last Saturday.
So what? Because
yeah.
I thought we had kind of decided that in our meeting. What was different, or what needed changed from our meeting? Because I thought we basically did decide that.
Well, I think three of you had a conversation. I had some concerns that I shared, and we had decisions that were previously made by the group that had made a significant change without the additional input. And so the goal of tonight was to make sure everyone was on the call, which apparently we're not going to get, so that we could be all on the same page versus, parts of us being on one page and parts of us being on another.
Yeah, and the plan that we kind of came to Saturday really incorporates the original idea and what we had discussed in that previous meeting about simplifying. So hopefully this makes everyone happy, but...
Who was in the meeting on Saturday, just out of curiosity?
Myself, Patty, and Ben.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
there.
so same size group as last time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the same size group, and I think, in my personal opinion, I feel I'm the weakest link in the group. So when we talked on Thursday, I was like, okay, that makes sense. When we came on Saturday and we talked a little bit more, I had said, well, where's the setting button? Where is the attack button? Where are things that make actually the game play instead of just watching a game play by itself? And that's where I think the conversation went back to where we had this at the beginning. And I think that's where we all wanted to kind of be on the same page. Because I thought from the meeting on Thursday, we were simplifying it to begin the game, to make it simple, but then we were eventually going to get to something like this, to what Ben has on the screen right now. That's what I got from our Thursday meeting. So I think that's why we were here tonight, trying to clarify if that's what the goal was for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and this that I've got pulled up isn't exactly what we're going for, but I've been busy with work and other projects and haven't come up with another mock-up yet. So just to kind of describe, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen here.
And whatever we kind of come to as at least a consensus start, because I still think that despite Joe not being here, he communicated that he wasn't going to be able to be here tonight. Tyler and Ben not sure, but if once we at least get a consensus, at least with the four of us, I can put together real quickly, a layout with some additional details to try to drive some clarity, and then we can send that out in an email communication or on our community and get some responses that way too, so we can lock this down.
Yeah, because we're starting to run out of time to play with, so it's important that we come down to a decision, we stick with that decision, and make as many people happy and able to work on the project as possible. So what we were discussing on Saturday is, just like you had mentioned, at least to start with, we're not going to have the 3 enemies here. We're just going to stick with 1. And if we get everything done and can add more enemies later, that's great, but 1 enemy is fine. So we'll have the Holy Burger over here. We'll have the enemy over here in this section, so that's still kind of divided the way that your prototype that you had mocked up real quick looked. And we'll have the Holy Moly count up here. But this portion of the screen, we're going to keep almost the same. For most games, it's all handled within one canvas because it's easier to just stick with that. And since CSS doesn't play well with Canvas, at least with the inner content, to meet the requirements of the course and everything that we're supposed to use, we're going to take the health bar from this enemy up here and place it underneath this HP bar for your player. So we're going to shrink the size of that a bit, make it a little more skinny, and put it up there. And then underneath it, we will have the enemy's HP bar. Instead of the lightbox pop-up menus that were originally planned for the character sheet and the settings button, the only real setting that's going to matter to the players, that as far as we can get done before this project's due, is going to be toggling the sound on and off. So we're going to replace this settings button, which is item C, with just an icon for sound, and it's just going to be a toggle switch. So you press it and the sound goes off, or you press it and the sound comes back on. Instead of the skills, we are going to go ahead and put the level ups that were contained in this sheet, which was item B, into these buttons. So we're getting rid of the skills because it's going to get too complicated, and trying to manage all those is going to be too much for the time period that we've got for us to be comfortable with. And instead, these 1, 2, 3 items are going to fill up. They're going to be little bars more than buttons, and they're going to fill up as your holy mollies fill up. So say item 1 is your strength. If it costs 100 holy mollies to level up your strength, then it's going to fill up until you have 100 holy mollies, and then the bar will be full. And they're each going to be their own individual bar, and because you can purchase as many of one as you want without upgrading the others. So they're going to fill as the currency required is accrued, and that'll be on an individual basis. The attack button is still going to stay there because I've tried it out with a couple of web apps, and I don't know if you've seen that link that I had posted in the Google Hangout chat, but tapping repeatedly on the screen in the web app wasn't zooming in at all. I think that's a text-specific feature, because I put up a link to a mobile app game that I had found for everyone to see, and I had sat there for about half an hour trying to make it zoom, tapping as fast as I could and playing around with it, and it never adjusted at all.
Cool.
So tapping the button should not be a problem. And I think that's about where we're at.
And what were the 3 again? It was strength, health, and
There was strength, defense, and health,
Yeah.
I think is what it was.
So I'll make sure I capture that for the mock-up.
So what are your thoughts on that, Andrew?
I'm not sure. I mean, guess that's fine. I honestly don't know why it needed to. I still a little bit am confused why it needed to be re-decided. Cause I don't know. So I guess I'm just confused on that, but it kind of seems like apples and tomatoes at this point.
Well, I think that just like tonight, the intent is to get a group consensus. We don't have all of our members here, so I think part of the challenge is we had 3 meet on Thursday instead of our originally planned meeting on Tuesday, and so we weren't able to get a group consensus. And so I had concerns that for myself and for the other folks that weren't on that call that we're not engaged as a group to be able to make those decisions. And so no problem raising my hand to say, yeah, I had concerns with saying, well, why are we doing all these different things when we go back to our meeting notes and look at a couple key items. I saw that you created a new GitHub that you were going to control the push for, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, so correct me if I'm wrong. Whereas in our meeting notes, we already had a GitHub established. We had Joe that was going to handle the server aspect for us as we divvied up responsibilities in those first couple meetings. And then so to see this kind of course change where Looks like you were going to take the responsibility of, we were going to push the code to you, you were going to push the code to a server. There's no control element there for any of us as group members. I think the level of learning opportunity for each of us at different skill levels is lost in that kind of unilateral control process. And so, Patty had shared some concerns that, this is really new to me, and so I want the ability to utilize GitHub and push and learn through those challenges and be able to submit changes. And I don't know that that's going to be possible in that way, and I didn't think that was going to be possible for me. I have some experience with that, but I need more repetition. So I think to your question, why are we making a change? I think the same question that I had, and maybe others, could have, or I don't know, but I know I had. Why were we making a change without all of us having a group consensus on it? So I think the concern is similar, and I think the intent tonight was to have all 7 of us, but we don't have all 7 of us, so we'll have to find a different way to gain that consensus. To be able to make sure we stay on the same track, because some of these things were pre-established, and to my surprise, we were going in a different direction. I didn't understand why.
Okay.
As far as the other
does that
three,
make sense, or did that answer your question? Is there still concern there, or?
Well, what do you guys want from me, I guess, because I don't know what you want from me.
Well, I guess I'm a little concerned about I don't understand the response.
Well, I've explained a few times in the messages that I have a lot of experience with some of these things, and I explained to Ben and Patty, they were there when I explained all these changes that we made. And it sounds like really some of the changes you made, like really you just took out, I don't know, like some of the changes you made to the Holy Burger design is like nothing compared to the changes that I made before, and I understand that. Like, I just didn't know why we had to like move the health bar from being side to side to underneath each other. Like, I don't know.
So
as far as the GitHub goes, the GitHub, that was I explained in the messages that was something I was planning on teaching you guys, and I explained that I can teach you guys how to use this.
But
this is a simplicity thing.
Do you kind of hear, and this is how I'm receiving this, right? Hey, I've got all this knowledge, I can take care of this, I can teach you guys on how to do this. Whereas, if I were reporting to you, if you are a group leader and that was your role, I totally understand that, and I'd find a lot of alignment in that. However, this is a group environment, and so each of us have a level of contribution. There's a great deal of learning experience for us that don't have that knowledge. And man, I respect the heck out of your knowledge. I've worked with you in another group, and man, you're phenomenal talent. I don't have that talent. I'd like to get that. That's why I'm going through this process. Do you understand kind of how that may be being perceived by me?
No, well, because what you're telling me is you guys want a learning experience, and what I'm telling you is I am willing to teach you guys how to do this, so I don't understand where the problem is.
Well,
okay.
And why people are getting frustrated.
No, I don't think it's a frustration. I see it this way. I think we have a time limit to do things, and for like 3 weeks, Ben had said, hey, does anybody have any changes? I have posted it on the Google Drive. We had that time period, but then nobody said anything. All the responses that were coming through were, oh, yeah, that's fine. It looks great. No problem.
Well, again, to clarify, I said a couple weeks ago, like, I had some questions, and I was going to wait for Ben to explain it more.
But again, I don't think that just because you have a question and you have this experience that we take you on the
just experience.
On the drive.
Experience aside, I'm not. When I was talking about experience, I was talking about the GitHub I/O. Like I think
you referenced your overall experience. That's how I'm taking it. That you've got a great.
I was talking about the GitHub I/O. More of the story is I just don't understand where all the concerns are coming from, because like I just made. I mean, Ben, I didn't feel like there was any issues with what we talked about on Thursday, and then all of a sudden we have this meeting and it's like, oh, we have problems with all these changes you made, and it's like, okay, sorry. I just told him what I thought, and he agreed, and we made those changes. So.
And I will tell you this: it was just only you, Ben, and I. And like I said before, I'm the weakest link. So what I saw from what we did is that the game was completely stripped from what the purpose of the game was. But at that moment in time, I didn't put much thought into it because I was like, well, I guess it makes sense. But as I kept looking at it, I did ask the question to Ben and to Chuck on Saturday, hey, I feel this game is not the game that it used to be. I feel like we're missing something on the game, and that's when the conversation happened of the concerns of, yes, a lot of things have been taken out.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't work as the original plan that we all kind of had agreed towards the first 3 weeks, that's what we were going to do.
And it was kind of the same deal for me, because when we were talking on Thursday, I apologize. I was pretty burnt out from a lot of stuff that I have going on. And so at the time I was just kind of like, whatever, I'll just work with whatever we've got. But as I thought about it over the couple of days before the meeting on Saturday, I realized that, first of all, the game had pretty much been, from my understanding of what you were saying with the layout that you had, the game had pretty much been stripped of being a game, and it was more of like, okay, you might touch a button every once in a while, but we're just going to have it sit there and do its thing, and you're going to watch Holy Burger play itself.
Well, and that's where I'm confused, because we described it as an idle game. That's like the definition of an idle game, and so that's what I thought it was to begin with. And so that's just a communication thing. That's just simply I didn't understand what you guys intended, and you didn't understand what I intended. And so that's fine. Like, that's not that big of a deal. What I'm talking about is, just like, we come to this meeting, all right, let's get things done. Let's not talk about, like, I don't know. I'm just confused by saying, like, oh, I come into every meeting and make all these changes, and it's like, I'm just telling you guys, like, thoughts that come to mind and stuff. I'm sharing with you what I think about the project. I don't know. I just don't see. I don't see where we're having a lot of issues.
I don't know that there aren't issues. I think there was some concerns that I had that there was a completely different direction we took without any additional, participation or insights from the rest of the team. I don't have any personal issues with you, or I'm not trying to attack you in any way. Again, sharing a concern that I had, and wanted to make sure that us as a group were being able to represent our ideas and thoughts. And again, unfortunately, we don't have all those group members here. So,
well, I'm talking again, like, it's a combination of things, like, and I still haven't had a chance to explain, like, how my GitHub proposal is going to work, but I feel like it's already been shot down.
Okay.
No, it hasn't shut down. I think.
So let me,
in the interest of that.
Well, real quick, I guess I'd ask, when we made the decision on the GitHub in week 1 or 2.
I wasn't there.
So, I mean, you weren't there, but we had the recording, right? So if you'd have gone on the recording, you'd have seen that. If you'd have checked the meeting notes, you'd have seen that. And if there was a concern then, or if you had a better way...
It's not a concern. That's what I'm telling you. Like, I don't care what was established. I'm saying I feel like I have a better way. Let me teach you guys it.
And so
and that's still what I'm saying right now.
Totally open, but you're asking where the concerns are coming from. And I guess for me, I'm trying to share with you the concern that I have is, here we are in week 6, 8. So if you had this better idea, where was it in week 3? If you missed it on 2, there was plenty of opportunity to see that and communicate that. So I think you mentioned it, and I think it's right on the spot.
I guess my point is, why are we even having this conversation? Like, why are we even having this conversation about a 3-person group meeting on Thursday and making changes when a 3-person group meeting on Saturday made just as many changes? And who cares when things were established? Like, let's make decisions and figure things out. I thought that's what this meeting was for, and so that's what I'm saying. I don't understand where the problem is. Let's move on.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. My big concern with the GitHub IO is the way that it's set up. Is everyone going to have the opportunity to use GitHub the same way that they would if we were just using a normal GitHub account where we are pushing, pulling from a source so that everyone can get that experience? Because personally, I've been using GitHub for like a year and a half. I know how it all works. And I can definitely learn how to use GitHub.io because I haven't used that yet, and I'm fine with that. But this is a class, and we're all here to learn, and is everybody going to have the opportunity to work through the challenges of push and pulls?
And so again,
And
before you
source control.
go any further, that's what I'm trying to say. Let me teach you guys this. Before we all voice concerns, let's learn about it first so we know what we're talking about. Is that fair? Like that, and that's what I was trying to say in the message.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's fair. The way that I had understood the whole what you were saying about the GitHub.io is that since it was on your personal account where you've got your portfolio for this class, you were going to want to be solely responsible for pushing and pulling and doing all of that.
nope, that's not the case. And like,
Okay.
how about I'll just screen share. I'll show you guys. You guys can shoot it down if you want, but just let me teach you guys before we shoot anything down or make a vote or whatever.
I'm not trying to shoot anything down. I'm just trying to. My big concern, honestly, is that everybody gets a chance to learn. If we end up going with the GitHub.io, I don't care because that's honestly one less GitHub account that I have to manage on my contributor stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. My concern is making sure that everyone's got the opportunity to learn how to use this stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna show you guys this then. So first of all, here's the Holy Burger repository that I was trying to get you guys to collaborate for. And that's okay. Again, you don't have to give it to me if we don't do this, but so this is just like any other repository. You can push, pull, clone. You would clone this. There's only one file in it, an index file that says, I think it just says test. Yeah, testing changes now. So that's it. So this works. And again, you guys are all familiar with GitHub, right? I know you said you are. I assume Chuck is.
Mhm.
I don't know about Patty if you've used it or not.
Yep, I have used GitHub before.
Okay, cool. So you're familiar with like cloning, pushing, pulling, merging, that stuff. Okay, good deal. I'm not trying to insult you. I just
Yeah, you're just clarifying. Finding common ground. We're good.
I appreciate that you asked me, though.
So this would work, and we would work off of this just like any other project. And so I can pull up an example actually of how this would work. What's the Git Bash version of Makedir?
Trying to remember.
Let's see, what do I have in here? Okay, I can do it in here. So again, this is what you guys would do. You guys familiar with Git Bash at all? I don't know if you use that or if you use like a IDE.
No, not familiar with it.
I use it for web engineering too, so.
Okay. Well, however you clone a project and whenever you want to clone it, this is how you would clone it, right? So it would clone. And now if I go into my documents, testing, there's the Holy Burger. So I can open this in brackets as a new project, and I can say, sorry, can't type. Here's some more stuff. And obviously the cool thing about working in HTML, CSS, which what we're doing, is you don't even need to push these changes. At least with brackets and most things, you can open up in a browser and test out your code locally, right? So you test it out locally, and then we'd all work off the same repository. So this is all pretty basic stuff. I'm not trying to insult your guys' intelligence. I'm just showing you how the process would work.
Yeah.
And so again, we work off this repository just like we would any other repository. Whenever these changes, did that not commit? Oh yeah, I didn't commit it yet. Okay. Okay, so there's those changes, and that that process isn't any different than what you guys had planned. And I'm not proposing anything different there. So you guys would all approach this the same way. So where it differs is submodules, and this is something that's kind of new to me. Is I spent some time Saturday figuring out how submodules work. But I'll switch over to my GitHub IO. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so here's my GitHub IO, and this is this website here. Once it'll load. Any day now. I don't know why it's going slow now. Okay, so this is my web page, right? And so and what I was talking about when I said I want control over this, I don't want you guys to be able to change this stuff. So this is where I'm restricting access. This is by doing a submodule, you guys can't change my project portfolio, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I was talking about as far as restrictions go.
Okay.
So by doing a submodule, you guys won't be able to touch anything in my project. However, all those changes you made to Holyburger, I can do a pull request in mine.
So can I ask you a question, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay, so in your chat you said the only downside. Okay, only downside.
Well, I think I know where you're going.
I can push changes to the hosting service.
Yeah. So hold off. I'll get to that.
Okay.
I'll get to that. Yeah. So here's the changes, right? That's not it. Why does my index not look the same? Well, now it's not working.
It's because you went to show us. That's how technology works.
Seriously. Actually, I think I do have to do it in here. Submodules. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. Maybe. Well, it's not doing what it's supposed to. Moral of the story is, and I did test this, so it worked earlier.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, absolutely. No one's questioning that. Just trying to understand the difference.
You guys would make the changes, and then I would say, so again, like if your changes were here, we'll just assume that poll worked. It should, but so new changes here. It would say okay. Well, now my project's all messed up.
Sorry. That's how my whole day's been today, so I totally get it.
I'm just going to do this real quick.
As you do that, I'll share an antidote.
Yeah, you got. Well, I'll just explain what it is supposed to do. Basically, I would do a poll, then I would do a commit and a push, and those changes would occur up here. And so it's hosted live by going to the Holyburger. So you just go there. Even that's not working now. What the heck?
So it would be Holyburger within your
my URL. However, it's not that hard. Well, it is kind of hard to use a submodule, obviously, as you can see. But once you get it set up, it should just be a pull and a commit, and then you guys can put it on your GitHub IOs as well, which is kind of what I was going for, is kind of teaching a way that we can all have control over it. So kind of the moral of this is yes, I have control of Madman Drew GitHub IO, but we would all be able to host it on our own. Because that's one thing I've kind of had a problem with with some of my other projects, is like some people want to host it through a different service or have a Red Hat server or whatever. But then as soon as the semester's over, we kind of lose that service. And so by using a submodule, we can have it all. We can basically put it and serve it up however we want. And so like if you guys need help again creating your own GitHub IO, it is super easy. I could teach you guys how to do that, and then you can all host it. You know, you can have patty.github.io, and then just have, you know, /holyburger, and it would work. And I'm kind of frustrated it's not working because it literally worked last time.
So
But
help
that's-
me
but that's
understand
the
this.
story.
Help me understand a couple of questions I have, and it's just so I don't understand the process. So in this particular format, class ends, you have all the code, the game works, you shut down the service. Do I have access to that code anymore?
Yeah, because it's all on that repo. So yeah, I can delete that repo, but obviously I'm not going to do that.
But let's say that you did. Then we don't
Well-
have access to that?
Yeah, but there's no way around that. That's going to be the case however we do it. Whoever owns the GitHub can do that. Like who's it on right now? Whose account is it on right now?
Yeah, that's fair. Right now, Joe has, well, I don't know that it's on anyone's GitHub yet. We haven't started. We've got the initial team GitHub still set up, but we haven't put any code on it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where Andrew's coming from with this, and I mean, that is a fair point. If, say, for example, not that he would do this, but Joe is the one who is going to be hosting it, we'd have the same problem.
And really, honestly, this repository doesn't need to exist in my GitHub. We can use whatever. Again, I didn't think you guys had anything set up. That's why I created this. It can be on someone else's repository. I just need to create the submodule from that repository.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to exist in mine. It can be anywhere else.
And as long as we clone the repository, you'll have a copy of it. Whoever, like anyone who clones the repository, will have the complete code. Like you could go do that the last day of the semester or when the project's finished, and you will have a copy of the code in its entirety right there.
So 2 questions.
Well, yeah, because I also have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Patty.
No, my question is a very dumb question, so please forgive me.
No, I'm sure you're good.
I appreciate learning about GitHub IO, and I think it's great, Andrew, that you're willing to teach it to us. I just feel like we just can do the way we had it set up.
Well, who was proposing to host it and how?
And that's the thing. When we met at the beginning, everybody had a job. And Joseph was going to do the hosting service. Ben had opened the GitHub. So everybody has like a part to do something. And my feeling, and again, it's a dumb question and it's a dumb thought, but my feeling is if you want to run everything now, it's like saying, oh, well, I don't think Joseph should host it because of this and this and this. Or Ben shouldn't have the GitHub because of this and this and this. Does that make sense? And instead of learning a new way to do GitHub right now, we could have used the last 30 minutes to divide what we need to get done with the project. Because again, for you...
Yeah, let me stop you right there. So just change your frame of mind a little bit. I'm not proposing changing anything other than how it's hosted. So don't think I'm like saying I'm not changing the project. I'm not changing how we're doing GitHub. In fact, I'm saying let's do it the exact same way we plan to do it. The only piece that changes is how it's pushed to the server. Because either way, so what you're saying is Joseph was going to be the one pushing it to the server. Like that doesn't need to change. He can still be the one responsible for that. But this process is 100 times easier, and that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not changing anything really. It's more of an extension of what we already have planned. And I think that's where everything is misconstrued and why I'm confused about everything, because I'm trying to say I'm not changing anything really. Like it's just trying to make it easier. And again, a perfect example. I think I figured out why you can't have two. I had 2 repositories. Holyburger existed twice, and so that messed with my Git repo.
I wish I could figure out my debugging that quick. I can't yet.
Oops.
I would be 2 weeks later, and
But Patty, I see where you're coming from, and I understand what you're saying, but I think it's just a misunderstanding that I'm not trying to propose anything different. I'm trying to show an easier way because, like, literally, it takes seconds to see results this way versus
And I
versus
understand.
pushing to a server. It can take like minutes to hours to get things to work.
And I understand. It's just, I guess, the way that you phrase it when you wrote it. The way that you say, well, I can only push it because I don't want anybody I don't know. It's just the way that the writing is, and I just felt like, you know how you said at the beginning, hey, I think we're just wasting this time, as we could have been working on, hey, we already have what we're going to do. Because remember, for you, if you make all these changes, or for Ben, because I consider you two like pretty knowledgeable, I even think Chuck is very knowledgeable, you can say, hey, yes.
I'll take it.
You guys can say like, hey, yes, so this is the assignment for next week. And then it's this, this, this. And then you spend 5 minutes saying what our next assignment is. And I'm going to be like, oh my goodness, okay, so now I have to Google what Ben meant by I have to do this. Instead of using the time more productive, I think, of saying, hey, you know, let's divide this. This is what we would like. And kind of working more together on the code. I don't know, that's just my personal feeling. Like you said, it must have been a miscommunication. I just feel we're kind of going backwards to week 3 or week 4, making different changes. That's my only thing, because it takes me longer to be able to write code. That's my, you know, my only thought about the whole thing. And the silence, maybe somebody.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
No, I think it's important to share your concerns. I think that we're all at different learning aspects, and we all see things and learn things differently. And you know, what might be super easy for me to be, hey, let's do this, or Andrew, hey, why don't we do it this way? It's super easy. To someone else, it's like changing their entire world. Like I am barely gaining understanding in a particular aspect of this language. I don't have the ability to comprehend more. And there's a lot of complexities in groups. So I think it's important to share that. But I don't think the intent of anything is attacking or calling any individual out. It's just about trying to gain groups consensus.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree on that. Mm-hmm. So I guess we would have to make a decision. I don't mean to kind of hurry anybody, but it's like 9:45. So.
Well, yeah, and my lunch was over 2 minutes ago. But.
So we would have to kind of decide, are we going to do this? What are we going to do? I thought we were going to talk about a little bit about the assignments we had over last week that we were supposed to turn in today.
So real quick, this is how quick you can see a change, though, in a server. So I push. Okay, it pushed, and then, like, those changes are already going to be up here as soon as it loads to the server. Versus, like, have any of you worked with Red Hat or any of those other?
I hate Red Hat's horrible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Horrible.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Horrible.
I guess sometimes it does take longer, I suppose. Anyways, moral of the story is there's no other process than pushing and pulling. So you're literally doing the same steps you normally do, but it automatically gets pushed to like a live server.
Versus having to go through like FileZilla and upload your file. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. So like that push I just did, that made changes to my website. So yeah, it shows up right here. It just takes a second to refresh up here.
Okay.
There it is. So if any of you, again, have worked with servers, you can see how much easier that is. And that's all I'm trying to say is like that step I just took just simplifies things a ton because we're not really working with the server. And that's what I meant, Patty. It's not really a server because we're not working with the server. GitHub is working with the server behind the scenes.
Okay. So because we are all already on the one that Ben sent at the beginning of the semester, can he just do that to the one he already has?
Ben, I thought you said there's not a GitHub yet.
Well, the GitHub exists, but there's nothing on it. So,
no one's pushing
I
it
mean,
because we've been training.
Honestly, adding anybody to a different GitHub isn't going to make any difference. You just need their name, and it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there was just a communication breakdown in who controls and the lack of learning a new environment, lack of control for anyone else to be able to gain that learning experience, and I don't see those challenges in what you've demonstrated.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a moot point now.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because my big concern was with the way that I had taken it was you'd be in charge of all the pushes and pulls, and since that's not really an issue, I don't care.
And
So we
one
can
of the,
all push
And that's yeah. I'm glad you guys are on the same page now because I was like, whoa, hold on, it's not that.
the other concern that I had was, and I don't see that here anymore, but I'll share the concern just so that you understand where I was coming from. Is if you had control over everything, and we end up, and the class ends, you have the code. Well, you can go sell that and make a ton of money, and who's to say that we have any?
Well,
I'm just saying, real life scenario, right? I mean, go back to Napster, right? I mean, take us a little while back, but
Well, to be frank, it happens. Actually, it happened. I was at the career fair for where I work now, and a student was talking to my boss. And he didn't see me standing there. He was talking to my boss and said, "Oh yeah, I created this app in a class, and it's called My Pantry." And my boss turns over and he's like, "Hey, Barta, didn't you work on that app?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did actually. I made that app." And he was claiming my work.
in fact, I did like 98% of it, you piece of.
And I've had that happen too.
He literally walked away ashamed. It was pretty awesome. But
Yeah. So I get testy and wary of that kind of stuff. I mean, not that I don't trust any of you guys, but
I don't trust any of you guys. I mean, so don't be offended by that.
Well, that's
Well, and this is a concern that I think we all have had, because Andrew shared the same concern at the beginning of the semester with injury reports. I think it's, it comes across to everybody. We all have that concern.
Yeah, and it's a real thing. I mean.
Yeah. So to clarify, because
I am still listening too. Sorry.
No, I know. To clarify, the change in the GitHub, and this is so everyone who's watching it that's not here and part of the conversation, and for my own learning, the difference between the GitHub and the I/O version is it's just going to push automatically to the server. It's going to communicate in the server, so you have the instantaneous upload. Concerns for not being able to have control of code or have access to the code. I mean, we can all copy at the very end, and we all have our own version of that code, right?
Yeah.
To learn from and utilize and whatever.
And the other thing is we can all push, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
As soon as Andrew makes us contributors on that, then we can push and pull however we please, just the same way that we could with any normal GitHub repository, because that's really all that's going on here is the GitHub that Andrew associates with his github.io account is just a GitHub account, but the I/O portion of it goes ahead and handles all the server stuff and updating the web pages automatically. So as soon as we push to the GitHub, that whichever one we choose, the changes on the server will happen instantaneously and automatically, so that we don't have to play with it to get it working.
Okay, perfect.
And really, so to be frank, this doesn't affect any of you guys really. The only person it affects is Joseph, because he won't be needed to create a server anymore. That's the only person affected. How you guys go about using the project will be exactly the same.
Yeah, there will be no change.
Hey, Joe, I know you're listening out there at some point. You just got voted off the island, so we'll vote you on back week for something else.
If he still wants to be in charge of it, I can teach him how to do this, and he can be in charge of it. It's just
well,
easy.
he quite clearly gave us a vote that we could use any way we wanted to. So
That's true.
Just pointing it out, we've got documentation on that.
So to clarify, Joe, you voted yourself off the island.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so now that we know that Andrew's going to do GitHub, everybody, and there
Oh, hey, speak of the devil.
Is that Joe? Is it really?
it is.
Yeah.
That's
Just join
awesome.
the call.
Joe, we just voted you off the island, and somehow you found the idol on the island and made it back. It's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. Okay, so now that we have the GitHub taken care of,
Okay.
and we move to then the game part.
Did you guys
Yeah.
first? It looked like there was a positive response on the designs of any of the things that I put up. Are we good with that? Do we need any additional changes, or do we need to rework the concepts in any way?
I liked them. I think they're great, especially for what we're doing.
About
My question is, I saw that they were, I may have seen incorrectly, but I thought I saw that they were .ai.
I can move into whatever we need.
Can those be exported to .png? That way I can
Yeah.
implement them, because I haven't tried it. I've meant to do that tonight,
Yeah, I can.
but
I don't know
that Canvas will like taking in a .ai file.
Yeah, I can make that change easy, and I'll drop the background on it, so I've got a.
Yeah, so that there's no
background.
alpha.
Yeah, easy.
those,
But before I did that, I wanted to give you
There
the
it
AI
is.
files in case anybody wanted to make changes to it.
Yeah, no, I think they look great, honestly.
Okay. Are there
I felt
any other?
inspired.
Good. Are there any other icons or anything else that we need to work on? Because again, those are great. Like, I hate whatever I'm doing right now. Let me focus on something else to have fun, and then get back to what I'm doing.
As
Those
far
icons
as I
did look pretty awesome, by the way.
Thanks.
Or whatever images.
Thank you.
As far as I know,
I was thinking like on the health and whatever, instead of just having the squares, I could do the image that represented. They would still fill up just like they would, but they'd be a little bit more representative of what the item was. That was the only thing I could think of, outside of an attack button, which is pretty straightforward.
yeah, no, that might actually be a great idea.
So I guess, what would we do for strength other than
Well,
like
for
muscle
strength,
arm?
Since the Holy Burger is holding a fork anyways,
Uh-huh.
and that's supposed to represent its weapon, if we just use those images to associate like the fork with strength and then like maybe a little bun for defense,
Okay.
that might work too. If you can
Yeah.
get those working, that would be great.
Okay.
The only other icons we need to figure out, if everyone's okay with the couple of switches that we made, would be the sound icon.
Yeah.
And maybe something better for the attack button than just a little circle button.
Yeah, I had a couple ideas. I'm still kind of brainstorming on some burgerlicious design on that. So.
And I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, let me continue to brainstorm on that one.
so I have a question. So Andrew, are you okay with the changes that we kind of did on Saturday? So we're
Yeah.
kind of set in stone of like, hey, we're gonna do this, and we don't have the conversation like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, to be frank, I feel like nothing is set in stone in code projects.
Well,
That's probably true.
That's
Agreed.
And I
probably
think
true, but
that was kind of my point earlier. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that I feel like could be changed, but it's kind of like I said, it's tomatoes. It's kind of
Okay.
neither here nor there, so it's fine.
So you're okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe, are you out there? Or are you just listening?
I'm here.
Hey, Joe, how you doing, bud?
He's upset that he got it booted off yet.
We just wanted to let you know that you're a wonderful person and people say nice things about you.
I'm gonna call.
If anyone catches that red versus blue reference. That's
Right. Hey, Joe, don't watch the video. Don't watch it.
The only important part is when you came in. That's
Right. Pick it up from minute 62. So then, what I'll do is I'll do before the end of the week, hopefully, I'll send out like a digital mock-up with some additional detail from what we've all kind of discussed. Post it on the community and get any additional insights or thoughts from any of the members that were not here tonight. Just so that we can continue to kind of head down the right direction. I still don't understand the status bar and whether or not that's incorporated or not. I'm still lost on that part.
I think the status bar, for the most part, was supposed to be kind of like a health bar deal.
Okay.
if I understood it right.
Is that what
And
you were
so-
thinking, Andrew, or did you have another take on the status bar piece? Because it was the only thing I didn't.
What part are you talking about? Here, I can pull up the. If I can find it.
Here, I've got it pulled up on my screen, so I can just.
I thought I had it. I thought I had it in a
Click
tab.
faster. Who's clicking faster? Dun, 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 dun,
Ah, wrong one.
dun, dun, dun,
What type of
dun,
computer
dun,
do you
dun,
have?
Boom!
dun, dun,
Headshot.
Dun, dun.
Okay.
So this,
He beat you.
which one? So this is the status bar you're talking about, right?
Well, what was the other status bar? So
The
I didn't
HP?
understand it.
So this one, so again, this is where I said this is the only thing that I thought didn't make sense to put the status bar underneath each other, rather than like proportionate with who you are and the enemy is. But like I
Okay.
said, that's not that big of a
I'm
deal.
totally fine with that. That's.
But it's either way, it's a health bar. One health
Yeah.
bar for you and one health bar for the enemy.
Okay, so that's
And
what
we
you are
can-
working on.
We can shift those health bars around. I mean,
Yeah, like I
like
said,
for
that's
example, instead of putting them on top of each other, we could just stack the skill buttons a little differently
Yeah.
and move the sound button down by the attack button or on the other side. Other side would probably be better.
Yeah, I like the health under both the burger and the enemy.
Yeah,
Kind of like that game that you showed us.
yeah,
Very
and
similar,
it would be a lot easier to understand, more intuitive.
Yeah.
So I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. I just didn't know if there was something else in the status bar versus it being the health bar. So I just wanted a clear understanding of who's working on what, so we don't have a gap.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay. And then what does that leave then? So sound and attack,
We
level up. So I was working on the level up stuff, which is fun. It's going to take me a little while to figure out, but I'm on the right path, I think.
Okay. The other stuff that we have is I'm taking care of the canvas,
Right.
and I didn't put it up yet because I'm playing around with a couple of different ideas. Like I'm using the EM measurement instead of pixels because from what I've learned about web app design for multiple screen sizes, the EMs are going to be a lot easier to use and end up being a lot better.
Okay.
So I'm playing with that inside of Canvas, and I need to see how much of this bottom screen all of our icons are going to end up taking up, because for the height of it, it's as simple as calling a percentage. So, for example, right now I've got it set to 85% on the height, and it takes up 85% of the screen. So
Okay.
I just need to know how much room all these buttons down here are going to take after they're spaced nicely, and then I can adjust the screen size accordingly.
And then from a phone standpoint, I'm trying to go back to the requirements. All mobile devices. So iPhone 4, Samsung 6. So it's got to be able to be dynamic in that sense.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess
In,
the smallest out there is the 4, right?
I think so.
So if we build off the 4, anything else would be fine.
Yeah. I can get you a number. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. But in that Udacity website that I showed you guys,
Uh-huh.
there is a mobile app design class. And they actually threw out a number and said, this is the ideal size for buttons in pixels because this is about the size of a human thumb.
Yeah, if you can get that to me, that'd be great.
So,
Because then
and
I can
that
also resize some of these things.
was one of the Google developers coming out and saying, this is what your pixels should be.
Okay, cool. Yeah, if you could post that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so I'll get that for you
HCI
tonight.
Okay.
Sounds like what we should have learned in HCI.
Yeah. You would think so.
Chuck.
But,
I'm saying that because Chuck and I took that class together.
oh, nice.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, yeah, that's familiar.
Yeah, I took that class too.
The worst. I liked our design though. Our Sorry game rocked. I'm just saying.
It was pretty good.
It was
Okay.
fun.
So
Um,
what else can I work on? Because I posted the drive, just the basic class, which I thought that's what you wanted me to do.
Yeah, let me take a look real quick.
It's very basic.
Oh, that's fine. Right now we're shooting for very basic.
I'm shooting for basic, yeah. So then, Joe, can you work on the functions for the?
Sorry.
or-
Sorry, give me just a second
Fine.
here.
Joe, can you work on the attack button part of the game?
Attack button.
Yeah.
Is it described in the drive?
Will attack. I don't know that we have it detailed yet. I think that would be part of you like helping us figure out what that would do.
Okay. Sure.
But there's an attack button. Holy Burger is going to attack the different enemies.
Okay.
So do we have a deadline for these things when we turn them in?
4 weeks.
Yes, but I know that that's like our deadline for our game to actually work. But do we as a group have personal deadlines weekly? Kind of like the teacher said, hey, somebody has to be the bad guy. Do we have that?
No.
Or are we working on it and waiting until weeks? I'm just trying to understand, like, when would we start putting it together?
No, that's a totally valid concern.
Mhm.
At this point, what I was kind of working with was, since we had good momentum going on, we would just get stuff done and assignments out and finish them up as fast as we could. I'm personally, I don't know how you guys are feeling about this, but I'm hoping to have it, for the most part, put together by our meeting next week.
Ben, I can find some time with you and anyone else that wants to join. I can, hop on a computer and lock down as much detail for our project plan. So, and then we'll share it on Google Drive and for all to add and add comments and like this doesn't make sense. I can't do this or we shouldn't do this, and so we have a good collaborative approach to it. So I'd have time. I've got time tomorrow. I'm working from home tomorrow, a bit of an office day, so I'll have some flexibility in my schedule.
Okay.
I would like to join too.
Yeah. So if you send me a note, with some time available in your day tomorrow, I can find some time tomorrow.
Really, any time before probably 4 p.m. Mountain Time.
Okay.
Because that would be, I have to go into work at 3 Alaska time, which is 5 Mountain.
Okay.
So, because I'm working night shifts, so
Okay.
it's any time before that is fine.
Night shift.
Yeah.
That's
Could
off the
we-
top of my head.
Would it be possible to meet like in the morning?
I've got my morning is booked, and so I'm unavailable in the morning. I'll probably be available afternoon, like 12 noon. I won't know until the morning how the day kind of. I've got, like I said, I've got this big change at work that all of a sudden got laid on me, which is great, but got to figure that out. So I will be available. I will have availability in my schedule sometime between noon and like 3 p.m.
Okay, because I could meet, that's Mountain Time?
Yeah.
Okay, because I can meet until about, I have to leave at 2:30.
Okay. So I'll do my best to try to create some time in that time frame. And anyone else wants to join, feel free to. And again, just so that we can get something on paper for the rest of us to contribute to, and some
we can
guidelines.
put together.
Not as a definitive statement of, hey, this is what we're doing, but just, hey, this is where we're headed. Please contribute to help us all get there.
Yeah, because I would like to be able to write more code. I'm just not very familiar with video games, so I would need a little bit more of like, hey, I need this.
Well, there's going to be plenty of code to write.
Yeah.
But we have to figure out what that's going to be.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's the big part right now, is just figuring out what parts need to be done.
Yeah.
And I mean, for the most part, we've got the user interface set up and being handled, because like Andrew mentioned in our meeting last Thursday, or I think it was Thursday, since we're doing a top-down design, the first thing we have to hammer out is the user interface.
hmm
So, and since we've got that most of the way done now, we can start focusing on any and all back-end stuff, which really shouldn't be too complicated, but we want to make sure that we've got plenty of time in case any unexpected issues come up.
Well, I will do my best to prioritize that kind of near final version of the layout, and then I'll try to prioritize that over the next 24 hours.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I know that this meeting's gone on pretty long. Does anyone have any other concerns or anything that they want to say before we call it a night? Or
Well, if you guys were like nearby, I'd just give you all a big hug. I'm just saying.
oh yeah,
I'd hug it out, give you a high five.
What did Chuck
you
say?
can order me a pizza. That would be like a hug.
Dude, I'm telling you what. Don't tempt me, man. I might order one for myself.
And Andrew, thank you so much for the clarification about GitHub IO.
No problem. It was all a misunderstanding.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I blame it on Brother James. Brother James stopped recording prior to that statement. I'm just kidding. This guy just lost like points on my professionalism grade.
That's okay.
That's okay. Joe, do you have any questions, buddy, before we head out? And you can we only get about a minute worth of response time.
So is there anything else I can also do code-wise?
I think we'll have that figured out probably by tomorrow.
By
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Joe, what was that you were going to say?
Just to let me know when you, or I guess we'll know when it's ready for me to start tossing it up on the server for all to see.
Andrew, I'll let you take that one.
It's all
Yeah.
yours, Andrew.
Yeah.
Go back to
Watch the video.
15 minutes through like an hour.
Okay. So watch the video, and then if you have any concerns or
Basically,
Basic, yeah.
I taught everyone briefly how to use GitHub IO and use submodules. That way we don't have to use a server.
Well, yeah, but the end one will still need to be up there.
The GitHub IO is a live page.
Oh, cool.
yeah, so it's all handled automatically through GitHub. So
That
basically,
way we don't have to. We just skip the whole step of pushing to a server.
Neat.
Do you have to pay for GitHub IO, Andrew?
No, you have it automatically.
Yeah.
You just have to initialize it.
There's a good tutorial in there by Andrew, and it's probably about the 30 to 40 minute mark, I think, is when it hit. So,
And just so you guys know, I recommend all of you using that tutorial, mostly because Brother James actually asked me to post that for the rest of the class.
cool.
Like, so
Cool.
yeah, he wanted everyone to do that. So I don't know if people realize that.
Cool.
That's pretty neat.
okay.
I mean, you don't have to do it. He's just saying he wanted more people to do that if they're like struggling with other options. So.
Well, he should have said that in the beginning, and we'd have saved a lot of time. Just kidding.
And a lot of misunderstandings.
I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, well, and I'm fine with switching to that over OpenShift. Not that I don't absolutely love Red
Oh
Hat,
my gosh,
but
I can't stand Red Hat. I will stay on the call for another hour if we're not doing Red Hat. Oh my goodness, crazy.
okay. Well, I am 25 minutes late going back from my lunch, so
All right, go get paid.
I gotta go.
Catch up with you guys later.
Good luck,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So, yep, thanks. Bye.